And he was a fucking front of us the whole time. Just as well it was right in the guys start. Yeah. So it was pretty
Ka tēnā tātou I te whānau. E hoi ku tātou tēnei rā e whakatau nei a tātou tonu. Nō reira kia tīmata tātou hui ma te tuku I te arawhata ki tō tātou kaihanga kia ino I tātou. Hei mua koe I a mātou e hoa hei tēnu toku I a mātou. Koe anō kei te whakakaha I a mātou ke whai korori ai koe I roto I a mātou mahi katoa. He mea tīmata he mea mahi he mea whakaoti I roto I a koe. Kia whiwhi ai mātou I te ora tonu I te mea atu whaitia nei e koe. O I ukaragi huku tō mātou kai whakaora. Āmine.
Tau ake au ki te tau nei korua tipua korua tāwhito. Naru I runga, naru I raro, naru tīhutāne ko tōku waka ko tāki timu. Rera mai te maramara ko ihu nui ko ihu rō ko te āwhi orangi. Āpo ai ke runga e tūpāwhai e ko hauku unuku e tūpāwhai ake ana. Inu mea te kawa tākina te kawa. He kawa tūwā nihi, he kawa tūwā rangaranga te kawa wai ko tāki timu. Hoi te marama, hoi te orai. E aku rangatira, ko rangi nui e tui honei, ko papatū e takotora. Nā rāwahi ke iho ko te ira atua taino ki a tātou tira tangata. He hui ngā tangata he oki ngā mahara, ngā mate huhu o te wānei e hako koa e hako nohia. Ko te whakaaro ki a rātau, haere whakate tukerau ki rungi te aro Wairoa. Te whārone roa atau he ki ngā wāhi tapu I kura ki waingurunguru ki maringi roa. Whakarere atu rātau ki te rerenga Wairu ki te reinga. Kaure atu I te mōna ki manawa tāwhi. Au piki te maunga e tū mai rā ki o hau titiro whakamuri. Haere tonu rātau ki tawhiti noi, ki tawhiti ro, ki tawhiti pāmama. Ko rātau ki a rātau, te hunga e haere pēra I te ranga I mau ko taku ki tūnu ku taurua. E kore amuri rātau e hokia. Ko rātau ki a rātau, ko tātau ki a tātau, tēnā no tātau tātau. E ngā whanaunga, te nā puta, aha ko marangai, aha ko ua, aha koa, te āhuatanga o te rā ko tai mai koutou I te rā nei tēnā puta. Koutou e harangai nei te rā nei ki te whakarangatira tō tātou nei hu. E aku rangatira I ngā whanaunga kei te whakarere atu aku mahara. Ki ngā hikoitanga tipuna e tūhono ono ai tātou ki a tātou. Ka te tiro ki te māhia ki tai purutu ki tai wānanga, ko popoto te tangata, ko kura haupote waka. Ko popoto ko tama wheturere na tama wheturere ko rotu patu, na rotu patu ko ati hau na ati hau ko awhira. Me hoki anō ki te māhia ki te oraka, ki te tohunga nui o te wakatapu o tā ki te mo kuru āwharo. Nā rua āwharo, ko rua ka puanui, nā rua ka puanui, ka puta mai, ko ngake, ko nā nuhaka. Ka te tiro ki tērā o ngā waka ki a tainui, ko hoturo o te tangata. Te mā nuku o hoturo o tēnei marae o tātai. Nā hoturoa, ko hotu ope, nā hotu ope ko hotu nui. Ko moe o hotu nui, nā nuhaka, ko puta mai, ko tauira. Te rau ngā tipona ronga nui o te kāingara o te Wairoa. Me hoki anō rā kia nake, te rā uri o ruāwhoro. Ka moe a nake I a awhirau, te uri whakaheke o popoto o kura haupo waka, ka puta mai ko rapa. Ka moe a rapa I a moi te kākara, ka puta mai ko rongo mai wahine. Me hoki anō rā ki tō tātou nei waka ki a tāki tumu. Ko tama te ariki nui te rangatira, na tama te ariki nui ka puta mai, ko rongo kako, na rongo kako ka puta mai, ko tama te ure haia pōkai whenua pōkai moana, na tama te ure haia pōkai whenua pōkai moana, ka puta mai ko kahunu. Ana ka moe a kahunu nui a rongo mai wahine, ka puta ki waho ko kahukura nui, ko rongo mai papa, ko tama te a kota, ko maha ki nui, ko tau haikuri. Ka hukura nui ka moe a rua tapu wahine, ka puta mai ko rākai hukuro, na rākai hukuro ko tū purupuru, na tū purupuru ko te rangi tuehu. Na te rangi tuehu ko tuakā, na tuakā ko mahinarangi. Ko te wahine rai ko pōa ki te hinu raukawa, kareru ki waikato ki a tūrongo, he piko, he taniwha, he ke iho ki te kāhui ariki, ki te whare tapu o pota tau te whero, ana ki a tū heiti e noho nei rungi te ahuiwa tapu ona mātu ona tupu. Me hoki anō rā ki te toa rā ki a ka hukura nui, Ana ka moe a kahukora anu i a tūtaionga ka puta mai ko hine manuhiri ko rā kai pāka. Nā tokorima hine manuhiri o te Wairoa hō pūpū hō ningi matangi rei Wairoa ta pokora. Me te kore e wareware ki te mihi atu ki ngā tūpuna o te kāinga hoki, te moinga tuatahi o runga mai wahine, ka puta mai ko rapa i te Itarangi, ka puta mai ko hine rauhiri. Anei etahi o ngā tūpuna o te kāinga e hui ai tātou i te rane. I rungi o koutou nei pakihiwi i te rā i tai mai koutou i tēnei huinga o tātou, ka uru mai o koutou nei maatua o koutou nei tupuna kātai ka mamihi atu ka koutou e aku rangatira. Te pārekereke o ngā rangatira o te Wairoa tēnā koutou. Koutou te tinana, te kanoni o rātou mā, nā reira nau mai hare mai ki tō koutou nei hui. E hui mō koutou. Kia mōhi o koutou, kia areara mai o koutou nei taringa, kia matatai, kia tirohia koutou, anei nā whakautunga mō ngā take kirime. Nā reira huri rauna, nā whanaunga, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Pene te kura,
te kura, mana ke te kura, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou.
Kāti tēnā anō kata. It's good to see you all here today. My name's Tamati Olsen, I'm the chairperson of the Tira Whakaemi of Wairoa. As you saw standing up here for the support crew, they're all representatives of the Tira Whakaemi of Wairoa. I'll just introduce them all first. Over here, we've got Lillian Tahuri, who's here as a representative for Ngāta Horima Hine Manuhiri, along with her sister, Doreen. Okay. Over here, we've got Teresa Smith. Sorry, Teresa Smith from Ngāti Hinganga, Te Reinga, Ruakituri, those areas. Kapai, Alan Smith, and over here, Oha, Manuel in the middle, in the purple, both representing our township clusters, Wairoa, Tāpokoro 1 and 2. So all the marae, all the hapu around town, in town and around town. At the fact, in the green, that they're trying to be, here we go, Rei Te Nahu, From rongo mai wahine, ngai te rā katoa. Over here, Liz Palmer. Whakaki nui a rua, whakaki iwi tea, kihi tū, e rā wāhi, Liz. Tuahine over here, Janina Signs and myself, we're from Rakai Paka, from the Nakana. That's all of us. Part of Te Tira Whakaemi o Te Wairoa. We have 28 governance members in total at present. Also here today we've done our mihi, John Whana, who was our original chairperson and is now our lead negotiator for Te Tira Whakaemi o Te Wairoa. Our engine room at the back, Devonshire, doing all of our regos and then our admin team. Our unsung heroes, our ringa, why. We've got to make sure we're doing everything when we need to be doing it, how we need to be doing it. So that's us here, and also our other technical support. Our camera here, it's because we're live streaming this on Te Tira TV, on our Facebook. We're live streaming all of our ratification hui, so all of our whānau, no matter where they are, have the opportunity to hop online and see our hui and hear what's going down. Yesterday, new trend started for us. We even started getting questions online as to hui were progressing and people were watching. That's this world that we're in, eh? That's cool. It's cool that we can be having these kind of hui and our whānau from around the globe are also able to participate. So that's us. Today's hui, as John said, this is your hui. Our catch cry for this particular set of hui is now's your time. It's about us bringing out information to you guys about where we're up to, what we've achieved, and what we're presenting to all of our beneficiaries for you guys to make an informed decision. So we've divided today's hui into 3 parts. The first part's going to require your eyes and your ears while we do a presentation to you guys. And if you're really good in that part, then we'll let you put your mouths into the next part. We will take questions and answers next. And then after that, ka mutu te hui, go next door. We have some, was the other important part for today. It's not just about listening about the treaty settlement. We go next door to Naungatanga. Have a timo, have a cup of tea, all of those things. Catch up, we can ask the reps questions about what's going down in your particular neck of the woods, so on and so forth. Ka pai? So our presentation is about 20 minutes long. We'll get straight into that. We won't turn the lights off, we've just tried that experiment before. We've only just landed in this whare as well. And it took a long time for them to come back on, so we'll leave them on and we'll get on with the presentation. Kia ora tātou.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Nau mai, haere mai. Thank you for joining us today for our Ratification Information Hui. We're Te Tira Whakaemi o Te Wairoa, the organisation that has represented you, the whānau, hapu and iwi, who whakapapa to the ancestral waka of Tākitimu and Kurahaupo in our negotiations with the Crown to comprehensively settle all historical Treaty of Waitangi claims in this area. This hui is an opportunity to learn more about the settlement Te Tira has negotiated for you. The presentation is approximately 20 minutes long. Following the presentation, you will have the chance to ask questions and discuss the settlement. We have allocated a maximum of 30 minutes for questions and answers. Today, you can also vote on the 3 resolutions, which are outlined on page 6 of the Ratification Information booklet. If you are not a registered member of Te Tira, you can register and vote today. You'll be able to cast your vote in the provided ballot box at any time throughout the hui. Voting yes will support our settlement and allow us to move forward. We are holding 9 hui across Aotearoa, in Wairoa, Ahuriri, Te Whanganui a Tara, Rotorua, Kirikiriroa, Tāmaki Makaurau, Papaioea, Waihōpai and Otautahi. The information presented at each hui is exactly the same and will cover our journey to settlement, the stages involved in negotiating with the Crown and the process to this point. Voting. As beneficiaries, you have the right to decide. In this section, we'll explain how and when you and your whānau can vote. The deed of settlement. As part of the voting, we'll ask you to vote yes to accept the deed of settlement. In this section, we'll look at what's included and what this means for us, ngā iwi me ngā hapū o te rohe o te Wairoa. The settlement package. We'll explain what's included in the settlement, such as financial compensation, cultural acknowledgements, and whenua, as well as the new relationships that will be established with government and council organisations. If our settlement gets the green light, it will become law. So we'll need a new trust to administer and manage our assets. We'll explain more about tātou tātou o te Wairoa and the voting process involved in electing its trustees and agreeing that tātou tātou o te Wairoa Trust be the post-settlement governance entity that will receive and manage redress on behalf of the iwi and hapū of te rohe o te Wairoa. We'll finish with a question and answer session where you'll have the opportunity to ask any questions you have. We've reached a significant stage in our negotiations with the Crown. Now it's your turn to have a say. We need your vote for the settlement to progress. Te Tira encourages you to vote yes on the following 3 resolutions. I, as a member of the iwi and hapū of te rohe o te Wairoa, accept the deed of settlement for one comprehensive settlement of all historical Treaty of Waitangi claims between the Crown and iwi and hapū of te rohe o te Wairoa. I agree that the tātou tātou o te Wairoa Trust be the post-settlement governance entity that will receive and manage redress on behalf of the iwi and hapū of te rohe o te Wairoa. I agree that the initial trustees of the tātou tātou o te Wairoa Trust sign the deed of settlement on behalf of the iwi and hapū of te rohe o te Wairoa.
We have some beautiful young people and not so young people that have trained as lawyers, accountants, bank managers, etc., etc. People like me, we need to gracefully back out. We've done our job in negotiation. And in this group of people that we have within our rohi of Rongamai Wahine, there are very skilled people that can really help their generations as well in their futures to come. Our rangatahi are here today. They're not the future tomorrow. They are here today. And it would be great to see them come on board and offer the skills, whether in the reo, whether in the culture, whether in the tikanga. We are here to support them, not for them to support us.
The journey to settlement. Treaty of Waitangi claims in our district have a long and significant history dating back to the early 1980s. In 2002, iwi and hapū met and decided that we should work together to progress our claims across the district under the auspices of the Wairoa Working Group. This was the genesis of Te Tira Whakaemi o te Wairoa. In 2009, Te Tira Whakaemi o te Wairoa had its mandate approved, which allowed us to negotiate with the Crown on your behalf. It's taken a lot of hard work, but Te Tira Whakaemi believes we've reached the best deal possible for our iwi and hapū. In May this year, around 50 members of Te Tira travelled to Parliament to initial our deed of settlement. Now, we're in the ratification stage, where we need as many of our people to cast a vote and have a say. If approved and passed into law by Parliament, our new post-settlement governance entity will manage the following stage. This is where we'll receive recognition and have the agreed assets returned to us by the Crown. Voting on the 3 resolutions began on the 15th of July. You need to cast your vote by 5 p.m. Friday, the 26th of August, for it to count. The total number of votes we receive matters, so please vote as soon as possible and help us to spread the message to your whānau to get involved. So how do you vote? By now, you should have received a ratification pack that includes an information booklet and a voting paper. With this voting paper, you can vote in one of three ways. Online, by heading to our website, whakaemi.iwi.nz, and following the instructions. You'll need the PIN number and password located on your voting paper. This is the best method, as there'll be no chance your vote will be lost in the mail. We recommend this method to registered members living overseas also. By voting online, you'll also receive an instant notification when your vote has been received. You can also vote by post. You'll need to fill out the original voting paper you've been supplied, as photocopies won't be accepted. Clearly tick yes or no next to each of the three resolutions. Put this in the free post envelope you receive in your pack and post the letter back. Votes posted on the closing date will only be counted if they're received within 3 days, so vote early to avoid missing the deadline. Or, if you have a completed voting paper with you today, you can put this in the ballot box provided. Voting is open to all Te Tira Whakaemi o Te Wairoa registered members, including those overseas who are aged 18 and over. For those not registered, we have special voting packs available today that include a registration form to complete at the same time as your voting paper. The voting helpline is also available to call if you need to request a special voting pack, need a replacement voting form, or have any questions relating to the voting process. The entire voting process, including the helpline, is managed by an independent company called Electionz. They are based in Christchurch and have no association to any of our iwi or hapu. This ensures fairness and confidentiality. An independent returning officer has been appointed by Electionz to verify all votes and check each voting paper against the register. For that reason, it's important that you only vote once. Let's now look at the deed of settlement that we've negotiated, which we encourage you to vote yes to. The deed of settlement will fully and finally settle all historical Treaty of Waitangi claims of the iwi and hapu of Te Rohe o Te Wairoa. The benefits of the settlement will be available to all members who whakapapa to the ancestral waka of Tāki Timu and Kurahaupo, which is approximately 34,000 of us. If you would like more detailed information about who the settlement is for and the historical claims covered, you can find this on pages 17, 18 and 19 of your information booklet. Let's now look at the deed of settlement. This includes a Crown apology, an agreed historical account, Crown acknowledgements of treaty breaches, a cultural redress offer, and financial and commercial redress. The Crown apology is intended to be a practical and constructive way of addressing the hurt previously inflicted on the iwi and hapu of Te Rohe o Te Wairoa by the Crown. The apology shows the Crown's desire to move forward and build a new relationship based on the Treaty of Waitangi that will work for our current and future generations. The historical account plays an important part in the Crown's apology, as it's an agreed statement that records our history with the Crown. It includes mentions of war, Lake Waikaremoana and Te Urewera National Park, land purchases, and the resulting consequences, including socio-economic deprivation. It's a statement that took a lot of negotiation, time, evidence, and findings from the Waitangi Tribunal to create. It's important background information that shows why the deed of settlement is necessary. In creating the historical account, the Crown has acknowledged and taken responsibility for a number of historical breaches in relation to the Treaty of Waitangi. This is of course something that we and our kaumātua have fought for a long time and is significant. These acknowledgements are what led us to the redress and compensation that we're about to explain. The cultural redress recognises the traditional, historical and spiritual associations our people have with whenua and sites owned by the Crown in our rohe. The deed grants permission to work alongside a range of organisations to protect, enhance and conserve each of these valued sites. For this to happen, the following working relationships will be established. a relationship between the Wairoa District Council, the Hawke's Bay Regional Council, and our newly formed post-settlement governance entity. This will include letters of introduction to both councils. And Te Rohe o Te Wairoa Reserves Board, Mātangi Rau, will work with the Wairoa District Council to administer and manage a mix of their reserves. There will also be a range of relationships with the Ministry of Environment, Department of Conservation, Department of Internal Affairs, and relevant departments in relation to Crown Minerals and Paonga Tūturu protocols. We'll also work with the Hawke's Bay Regional Planning Committee, Te Papa Tongarewa, and the Urewera Board. On top of this, we'll also be able to create a social and economic revitalisation strategy framework for our iwi, led by the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment, and including the Ministries of Education, Health, Social Development, Primary Industries, Te Puni Kōkiri and others. All of our new relationships will help us to look after places that we care about and move forward to a better future. The deed includes detail about specific sites in Te Rohe o Te Wairoa that the Crown has acknowledged we have connections to. Here is a summary of what is included. 5 sites to be returned to us and then gifted back. Kumi Pakarai Conservation Area, Mahia Peninsula Scenic Reserve, Morere Springs Scenic Reserve, Otoki Government Purpose Wildlife Management Reserve, Te Reinga Scenic Reserve Property A. For a complete list of what the sites are and what type of redress applies to each, refer to page 16 of your information booklet. The Crown has also agreed to financial compensation. The total value is $100 million. This is made up of $88,964,250 in cash. The remaining financial package is made up of a 50% share in the Patunamu Forest valued at $2,465,750, a 50% share in Wharerata Forest valued at $3,570,000, and an on-account payment of $5 million. The settlement will also include accumulated rentals from the shares in the forests and interest earned on the entire financial redress. Another form of redress is commercial. There are 24 deferred selection properties. The deed provides our post-settlement governance entity with a right to purchase these properties for a number of months following the settlement date. There are a further 147 properties which, when they are offered for sale, our post-settlement governance entity will have an advantage to purchase. This is called a right of first refusal. The properties are currently held by the Department of Conservation, Housing New Zealand Corporation, Land Information New Zealand, and the Office of Treaty Settlements Land Bank.
We are all aware there will never be the settlement that is required to settle things properly as far as the Tiriti was concerned. That'll never occur, but what we can get through settlement, we look forward to that, to help uplift our people. Me ngā whakahaere wainganui a rātou, whakapakari a rātou marae kāinga, a rātou whenua, ngā mea ka riro mai, ngā mea kaore riro, ka paurite ngā kau mo te rā. Aku whakaro mo rātou, kia u, kia mau, kia tūtuki rawa, waiho, ngā raruraru wainganui a koutou i te kāinga. Engari, kia tūtuki rawa tēnei mahi, whakawātea koutou i ngā whakahaere kei mui a koutou. Kia kore, ka mea te karauna, ka wikitōlea ko te karauna.
To settle our claims with the Crown, we also need you to vote yes. I agree that the Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust be the post-settlement governance entity that will receive and manage redress on behalf of the iwi and hapu of Te Rohe o Te Wairoa. And yes, I agree that the initial trustees of the Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust sign the deed of settlement on behalf of the iwi and hapū of Te Rohe o Te Wairoa. The trust deed is the legal document that will govern the post-settlement governance entity, or PSGE, our trust, and determine how it will operate to manage the settlement redress. Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa is the PSGE that we've agreed on after much consideration. The Crown has also given its approval for this entity. Once the settlement goes ahead, Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa will receive and administer the settlement redress and any future assets. In the initial 2-year period, the Trust will sign the deed of settlement, follow the review process and consult with representatives of our iwi and hapū in regards to purchasing new assets, follow the work plan agreement when deciding asset ownership, form working relationships for cultural redress sites, maintain records for reporting, and organise and manage initial trustee elections. If you would like more detailed information about the trust deed, you can find this on pages 21 and 22 of your information booklet. Deciding who will be our initial trustees for Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa will involve 3 stages. Nominations will take place in September 2016, followed shortly after with voting over 2 weeks. Our chosen initial trustees will be appointed by mid-October, in time to sign the deed of settlement. We, Te Tira Whakaemi o Te Wairoa, will hold the initial trustee elections. Registered members of iwi and hapū of Te Rohe o Te Wairoa, aged 18 and over, will be able to nominate and vote for the 14 trustees. As a voter, you'll belong to a kāhui, also known as a cluster. 7 hui will be held and you will be able to attend the hui that is for your kāhui. At your hui, you'll be able to elect 2 initial trustees. One trustee is to be ahika, and the other trustee non-ahika. While we won't be conducting a full postal ballot for these initial trustees, we're going to set up online voting, as well as encouraging as many of us as possible to return to your kāhui meeting. To understand which kāhui you belong to, refer to page 26 of your information booklet. More information about the initial elections will be sent out once the voting for the deed of settlement and trust is complete.
From a personal perspective, I have this belief that the treaty settlement money that is due to us, I have this view that, it doesn't belong to me, but it belongs to those people who are coming behind me. And what I'm referring to is my children, my mokopuna, my cousin's children, his mokopuna, and everybody else who has a connection to this district.
So let's remind ourselves what needs to be voted on. We need you to make a decision on our future by voting on the settlement that we have negotiated. We encourage you as a member of the iwi and hapū of Te Rohe o Te Wairoa to vote yes to the following 3 resolutions. To accept the deed of settlement for one comprehensive settlement of all historical Treaty of Waitangi claims between the Crown and iwi and hapū of Te Rohe o Te Wairoa. To agree that the Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust be the post-settlement governance entity that will receive and manage redress on behalf of the iwi and hapū of Te Rohe o Te Wairoa. To agree that the initial trustees of the Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust sign the deed of settlement on behalf of the iwi and hapū of Te Rohe o Te Wairoa. Remember, voting for these 3 resolutions closes 5 p.m, 26th of August, 2016. Once voting closes, we'll be advised if we've received sufficient support. To do this, the Crown takes into account factors such as the number of registered adult members, the percentage of registered members that voted, and the percentage of voters that voted yes. If there's not sufficient support, our settlement will not progress. With this in mind, it's important to realise that now is our time to shape our future for the better. If you have not registered, it's not too late. Please register and vote yes to support our settlement.
Tautoko hia, manakitia tēnei take a tātou. Mō ngā tamariki moko puna kai te kāre anō kia whānau mai. Ko rātou ngā mea tēno ngā kaunui te ana au kia rātou. The yet unborn. And the potential and the opportunities that it represents for future generations. Yep.
We'll now have questions and answers. Before we do, we have the following ground rules. Please respect others and remain quiet so that their question can be heard clearly. Please identify yourself when you speak, as we have to record your name in our meeting minutes. Please keep questions related to the deed of settlement and trust deed for our post-settlement governance entity, PSGE. Nō reira, from all of us at Te Tira Whakaemi o Te Wairoa, kia kaha ki te rehita me te pōti. Tēnā tātou katoa.
Well, that's our presentation, folks. That's a summary of the information that we're bringing out, that we've brought out to our people. And as the presentation says, in order for you guys to make a decision and have your say. A couple of contextual things. Firstly, sorry, I forgot to say right at the beginning, wharepaku, lahine this side, hane this side. If we hear any alarms or anything, don't be alarmed. We've got some exit doors on the side and at the back. We'll just move out orderly. Every man for themselves. We'll get outside and then we'll figure it from there. At least there's lightning out there. Yeah, if you've got one of these things, this is how I communicate with my teenage daughter. Make sure it's on silent. But anyway, sorry, back to this. Yeah, question time for you guys. Any question is a valid question. There's no non-valid question. And you've all got a right to ask questions. And now's that opportunity, so you need to ask. You need to ask us so you can go away and make that decision. Or if you've got enough, make that decision today and vote.
I just want to thank all of you guys for putting this together. I like that presentation, really short, straight to the point. Wanted to say kia ora to everyone for coming, and especially our rangatahi. It would have been great having a lot more, but I appreciate the ones that are here. I've just got a question. I whakapapa to Rakai Pāka and also Ratification too.
Yeah.
So I've just got a question. I think it's great with the settlement regarding the management settlements, and I know that they're going to have every representation. How would that be disseminated out? And I'm talking about the ones that don't live in Wairoa. How would that info go outwards? And how would that communication continue to happen?
What's your name?
Leona Bowman.
Well, this is part of our challenge to move forward, That, as the presentation said, we think there are 34,000 of us at least. Now, I'm a mete, a few thousand of us, just alone, all around the world. And that is one of the challenges to move forward. This is only round one. By engaging in this process now and reaching out to our people, you're going to hear a lot more from us moving forward. It's not going to be an isolated incident. And we're learning things as we go along. We're learning to use the interweb, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of those things. And you talked about rangatahi, that's where they're all hitting. Hey, not being mean, but our hui are filled with grey-haired people, silver-haired people, and all the mea makawe parahuti-huti are behind the screens doing their thing. So it's going to be very many, very vast ways in reaching out. But the registration process and the database helps us to at least shape that up in the first instance. That's it in a nutshell. Kia ora. David Hamilton.
I just had a couple of questions on the...
I'll do one at a time, mate, David. Still answering a couple of questions if you might get lost.
It's all related, so...
Okay.
Just on the ratification process, the actual voting finishes on the... I mean, everything's got to be in by the 26th of August, is that right? Yep. So the actual ratification date, when is that sort of like ratified?
It's about the 30th of August.
Okay, so the actual settlement date, have you got approximation?
We are gunning for 22nd of October.
Okay, so you've got like the trustees going to be elected between the voting of the trustees, election dates, or
very quickly in September.
Yeah, from the 24th to the 4th of October.
Yeah. I feel like we're getting...
So is that enough time then for the trustees to get together to decide what actually happens on the settlement?
The Tira will set up the whole deed of settlement signing. It's a process.
Yep.
They'll manage that and have that all in play when the trustees come in.
Yeah, so does
what we need to concentrate on first with the trustees is inducting them and getting to know them, to know intimately the trustee.
And so will they appoint management for the assets?
They may choose to. They may have to look at the options available to them. A couple of things around this initial trustee that we need to be very cognizant of. Te Tira Whakaemi o Te Wairoa's job, its mandate was to go out, was to negotiate with the Crown for a comprehensive settlement of our Treaty of Waitangi claims. Primarily that's why we're here today, because we feel that we've achieved the best settlement deal that we can get with the Crown. Deal. Because if you're looking for justice, or truth, or true redress for a Treaty of Waitangi settlement, you're looking in the wrong place. The political complex. It's not true justice in that sense. That's just it. So we've got the best deal. We're here. There's some big questions though that are still unresolved for us. And what we've had to do over the last few months is decide what is it that Te Tira needs to do in order to complete its mandate, and what should it leave aside for post that. And we've got, as I said, a number of outstanding issues. So our plan of attack, is that our initial trustee will be that, only in place for 2 years. And they're going to have to consult with everyone and say, what's our permanent structure moving forward? How are we going to ensure that we're incorporating everyone in, as well as home? What does balance look like? What does all of those things? That's a major focus for them. So we're only putting in a trustee for a 2-year period. After that, they must move to a full PSGE, full postal ballot, all of that thing, all of that stuff. So basically go away, work up a plan, consult with our people, come back with options so that they can make a decision, then we know where we're going. Yes, it's a short time to elect our trustees. No, it's not a full postal ballot. We can't afford to do it. That's the reason. Can't afford to do it. We're only plugged in for this postal ballot. But we've reached a compromise. 28 members currently on Te Tira Whakaemi o Te Wairoa. We are scoping that down to 14. Representing our 7 kāhui groupings, 2 each. 1 ahi kā, 1 non-ahi kā. Both and we're saying this consistently to everyone, need to have the right skill sets. They need to have the right skills. We need to step it up the next level. So we're looking for that in our 14 trustees. People have asked, I see a point, a left, all these words. Mawai, e maangai o te ahi kā e whakatū. E rā pia, mā te ahi kā tērā. Hey. So we're letting our ahi kā go through their process to decide if they've got one person or they're going to put up two, and then let everyone vote on their ahi kā, or no, we've all agreed here's our tangata ahi kā. Hey. There's extra onus on the ahi kā person, trustees. They've actually got to be hooked in to our hapu, to our iwi, to our marae. But as I said, regardless of that, all trustees must have good, high competencies, good skill base. We're leaving that open. Yeah, it's going to be a short burst, but we think we can handle it. We're getting used to, we're really good at working under duress. Cool?
Sorry.
No, we never start with sorry dear. Never.
Harai Smith originally from Nuhaka. Okay, I just got a bit confused.
Yep.
So today voting is for votes, correct?
Yes.
And then when our trustees come and our trustees will be pushing this?
No.
Okay.
Today we are voting in this next 4 weeks through to the 26th of August. We are voting on 3 things: to accept the deed of settlement, the deal we've cut with the Crown to settle our settlements. Second thing, to accept the PSGE. And the third thing, to empower the PSGE to sign the deal. Those are the 3 resolutions in a nutshell. Accept the deal, accept the organisation, tell them to get on with it. There's another way of putting it.
So they could change it? Sorry if I
Have been very, very brave to do it.
I know it's here.
Because we're setting what we've done. So you've got in the books are summaries. On our website, te Tira Whakaemi.iwi.nz, is the full deed of settlement, the full trust deed. So when those things are voted on and signed for mana, if they need to change it, they have to do a full process again. You know, you can't just change constitution, eh? You've got to have a, what do they call it, an SGM, for that kind of stuff. And you'd have to do a full postal ballot and all the rest. And that's why we put the 2-year thing in, and the 2-year work program. You can't compel future trustees to do certain things. But we're taking this out to the people and saying, this is what we're asking them to do. 2 years. Only this. So be very brave of them not to follow that as well. Lee?
Thank you.
Hold on.
Can I
Sure.
Kia koutou, ko Hui Agenda, Ngāti o te whānau o te Wairoa. I have 2 very clear questions that are open to our reps from our clusters and our rangatira over here. I'm speaking on behalf of myself, my children and my soon-to-be born grandson into this settlement in September. My first question is open to the reps from the clusters and everybody. Any comments at all? I need an insurance when we vote as a whānau on this proposed settlement, that all of the clusters and the reps are united and support this settlement here. I'm not going to vote based on this lovely presentation here to find that there's some raru or whatever. Does anyone have any questions? Do we have insurances as a whānau I mean, I know that's a really...
So if you want to know
broad thing to say.
if this has been plain sailing, if we've resolved
No, well, I know
everything,
it hasn't.
and there aren't any raurura remaining, we're not going to stand here and lie to you and say to you, oh, no, it's all super sweet. Because it isn't. Why? Because it's not our process. It's a Crown and process. I'm not going to put them on the spot and do that, dear.
Oh, no.
We're here as the Tira. We're here as the Tira, and we're here openly and honestly. That's why, if you think about it, what I was saying before was subtle. Now I'll say it plainly. That's why we've seen 2 years, because we've got outstanding issues, big questions that we know we alone, one, whilst we might have the right to ask, don't have the right to answer. It's for all beneficiaries. It's plain. It's in the work program. Do we keep the pūtea together? Do we keep the assets together and grow it for all? Do we toha that out to our kāhui, to our hapu? Those are issues that are outstanding. That wasn't our mandate. Our mandate was get a deal done. And if you ask all of these guys what they think about the deal, the answer, if that's why we're all here as Te Tira, is that's why we're here.
Good.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be here if we didn't think this was the best deal that we could achieve. Cool?
You've actually answered my second question.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. Thank you
Kia ora.
for your time.
I want to give a wee bit more context. I'm going to ask John to talk briefly around why we think it's the best deal. Because it's important to you know that.
We had a similar round of hui like this in 2009. Before we could start this journey, even though we'd started talking in 2002, we had to assure ourselves that we had the right to represent your interests. So we went out and held hui like this and said to people, do you agree that we are able to negotiate all the iwi and hapu claims into Wairoa? And the resounding feedback from people in hui like this was, yes you do. So as Tamati said, our job in this phase was to go out and to negotiate with the government to get the best offer possible to resolve our treaty claims. It wasn't about the money or the assets. I'm not going to say those things aren't important, but the importance of those things is they give us the resources and wherewithal to do something that's much more important. And the much more important thing is our own development on our terms as iwi and hapu of Te Wairoa. One of the fundamental things that all of our claims shared in common was the government did not live up to its obligations under the Treaty of Waitangi to protect our ability to be ourselves. And so the end point for these things is not, as I said, the money and the assets and all of that are incidental really. The end point is our ability to look after and to provide for ourselves. So I think these initial set of trustees, their responsibility is to accept the settlement once you've all ratified it. We then have the next 2 or 3 years to do the plan. So what we end up building, what it looks like, what our priorities are, we are yet to go. That's another task. That's the task for the PSG to be going through, so that it can come back and engage with you and say, what are your priorities? And then to pull a plan that again you have to sign off. This is the beginning of a journey. As I've been saying to people in our hui, this is not the end, this is just one stage. This stage here is about resolving our claims and finishing our negotiations. The next stage is in our journey about the different stages of our development as we build and create things that we think are important to us who whakapapa back to Te Wairoa. So there is a lot of talking yet to come. There is a lot of engagement yet to come with you all as you help us shape what is yours. And we decided that it was really important for the first 2 or 3 years with Te Tira that it is an interim set of trustees. To give you some assurance, they just can't go running off doing things. There will be a clear set of guidelines and trustee as to how they are required to operate. There are already some very clear requirements which are being left about the things they have to do as they develop this plan. If there's a simple thing that we've agreed to in Te Tira, it's that the first 2 or 3 years are about building that plan. We're not going to be doing anything substantial until we have the plan that you have a chance to have an involvement in, the plan you will eventually sign off, and the plan we will then have to deliver on. So I think there's been a lot of development to get us to this stage, but this is only stage one. This was about accounting for our history with the Crown, making it account for what it's done wrong, and giving us the wherewithal to go the next step, which is the more exciting step of being able to build ourselves into whatever it is that's important to us. So I think the importance for you is that our kōrero with you today is the beginning of the journey, not the end. There will be a number of times over the next 2 or 3 years where we need to be talking to you about what you think is important for us to be able to build what it is you think we need building for ourselves and for our mokopuna and our tampana. So I think that's the important thing about today. Today is the beginning of the journey, not an end. It's just meeting one milestone. The milestone which we were set in 2009 was going to negotiate a settlement for us and then come back to us and present it for us so we can make a decision, which is what today is about whether or not we're happy with it. Kia ora tātou.
Or Rachel Jones, I just have a technical question about the RFR properties. Is there 147? Did you say there are 147 of them? Do you know if in the deed or in the ultimate legislation there will be a power for the Crown to offer, to take those properties and offer them to someone who might, in iwi, who might have an overlapping claim?
No, those 147 properties are with us exclusively.
Yeah.
There is no overlap.
So we didn't have any overlapping claims?
No, we had overlapping claims.
Yeah.
Not over those.
Not over those properties.
Okay.
We're very good with our overlapping claims. We engage well with our neighbours in our whanaunga. We've got early agreements on all of them, because we like that. Koro, sorry, wait.
My name is Palmer James Edward Horton Mackay. The name Palmer comes from the Ferris family. And my younger brother, he's 10 years younger than me, and he dragged me along here. The first thing I want to say when I'm on my feet is this: God bless those people who put so much effort into bringing this forward. I'm sure we give all our blessings. The question I have, you see, I'm hard of hearing and I might have missed something, but when I saw the program, it had in there something like this, to this effect, that we have to get as many votes in as possible in order to have some mana into bringing to pass the settlement. Is that right?
Yes.
So what other help do you need? I assume that it's for us to go back and communicate with our own families and get them to get their voice in here.
Yes, Koro. See, that's the other part of the hui, you know, is let the cat out of the bag. By agreeing to come today, in fact, by walking through that door, you've just joined our army. And you are all part of our new foot soldiers and our warriors. Because we're asking everyone to reach out to as many of our whānau and our whanaunga as possible. We can't do it alone. Even with all of our fantastic technology. Only you guys know who and where your whānau are. Yeah. So we're asking you, reach out. Tell them, now's their time too. All they have to do is register. They can do that in many different ways. And then vote.
I just have one other comment to make, and that is this. The Mackay family comes from Ngāti Mahuta. Our grandfather Albert Horton went down to Mahi and married a Greening. That's my connection. We left Mahi when we was, just about 12 and he was 3. Okay? Now belonging to Ngāti Mahuta, the Tainui settlement brought about the factions of our people. There's a whole lot of Ngāti, of Waikato that did not agree with that settlement, and there was infighting amongst Waikato. That's the reality. And so today, there's a lot of our, they're selling houses and that, and a lot of our mokopuna are living in caravans. So, this is what I want to quote to you. From the Whakaputanga, the Declaration of Independence of this country in 1835, Article 4. Now, 34 Ngāpuhi chiefs saw what was happening in Wairoa. We had a Maori Parliament in Mahia in 1808, Wairoa. But what those 34 chiefs saw was in Wairoa, our people, the Māori and Pākehā working together, were taking backhands from each other. So those 34 chiefs started the Whakaputanga. And then Potato signed the Declaration of Independence in 1839. He did not sign the Treaty of Waitangi. Okay, I'm talking about Waitangi. So this is the statement in the Whakaputanga. This is Ngāpuhi saying, we appeal to the southern tribes to put aside their private animosities and consult together on the safety and security of our common country.
This is Ngāpuhi. Okay.
So, I'm suggesting to us that as we go through this hui, and as we go with our cousins and our brothers and our cousins, and we find they have a different view, then we need to kotahitanga. And we need to say to each other, let's consult together and consider the future of our mokopuna. And if we disagree, let us not be disagreeable in our disagreement.
Thank you, Koro.
And if we will hold that view, then maybe we can send lines across. There will be people with other opinions. That's true, isn't it? And they're allowed to have their opinions. So if we're true Māori, we must call ourselves together to have a hui and bring these things out. That's the comment I wanted to make. Coming out of the experience that's still going on in Waikato today.
Kia ora.
Okay? Kia ora.
The big thing I'm hearing in Ekoro is that we need to be cognizant of what's gone before us, and we need to learn from others, from other tribes and their experiences. And we would be remiss if we didn't. And are we going to trip up along the way? Yeah, we will. But that's all right. The thing is that we manage to pick ourselves up and get back on with it. In terms of your comments, it's like what I said before. We've practiced at that coming from Wairoa Whoro. We're very good at disagreeing with each other, but knowing how to get on with it too. We really are, because we realise through our whakapapa that our strength is not our unity, it's our diversity. And the diversity of our whakapapa that brings us together, that's where we then find our unity. That's how we approach it. Right.
Kia ora whānau o Wairoa, ko Aroha Stone and Tapuinua. I believe that the settlement will be successful. So my question is in relation to part 2. I just want to put it on the table and probably leave it there. I think that part of moving forward is where high-skilled people need to be part of to move that forward. And I'm talking academic, yes, but there are a lot of people we need who can work with people. So even though you're going to excel, we don't know what that criteria looks like unless somebody writes and shares themselves. So can I just leave that there?
Yes.
Kia ora.
Tēnā koutou whānau. Ko Sydney Kingi. I'm from the Whakaki Nui Arua cluster and the Hapu Ngāmotu. My marae there is Ki Tu Marae. I sort of remind myself, because I've also been to Priest and Hui on my father's side, who's from the Wairarapa, on the deed of settlement. That initially the deed of settlement is about redress. I mean, it's quite clearly, and it's spelled out in the words on the front of this book, 3 parts to it. And I hear you say that it's the best we can do, and I appreciate that under the circumstances. It's not full redress for what was, all of the things, horrible things that happened in the past. I accept that totally. And also we speak of going beyond that to the benefits that are coming from those redresses, and we're going to get into the management of that shortly. I want us not to forget though that the other redresses, systems for redress is just the general stuff. We are citizens of Aotearoa, we are eligible to all of the things that the country has to provide us. So this is additional, the benefits for the redress that we're getting. It's additional to all of those other things that we have. So let us not forget that we're entitled to everything else too. And I totally support these three motions that are on the floor at the moment. I'm going to vote yes for all of them. And to bring us there, my heartfelt thanks to all of those who started a very, very long time ago to work on this deed to get us this far. I've been away from home for such a long time, I've forgotten that these things have happened. So it's very refreshing to be here today to catch up on what's going on. The question I had, I want to be at the signing of the deed of settlement. I want this on the 23rd of October. Where?
Yeah.
God.
Well, we're still going through that process. We've got a number of interested parties. So we're going through the exercise, but we're going to let all of our registered beneficiaries know where you can stay, all of those things. We want as many people as possible to come back. We really do. This is a chapter, a page in our history that we should all mark together. So we're really going to push that. You made an important point, and something we must be cognizant of. We have negotiated a treaty settlement based on Article 2 redress. That does not, and we've got to be cognizant of that our treaty settlement is not an elixir that's going to somehow fix up all of our woes. It's part of the formula we're going to need moving forward. It's right. It's about the potential and the opportunity that affords. Under Article 3 in our citizenship, this is a really important part of our settlement for us. Is that we've managed to, with the Crown, get the last of the whole of government agreements under our socio-economic revitalisation strategy. Let's focus back in Wairoa, back home, and how we need the Crown to change what it's doing and how it's servicing our people and providing for their Article 3 citizenship rights. No more, no less than anyone else, but it's not working there, Bomba. So we have to find a way to break it over there, grow it over here, and bring those two things together. That's what will bring the change that we're looking for. Questions? Oh, I thought you were working up to a question there, a big question too.
Kia ora koutou, ko kautia mika tōki mungo, no rākai pāka. I just want to ask about our maunga. Yeah. Is it on here? Is it on here?
It's not on the Kautia. So why? That's part of the reason why these things aren't fair or just. Because even though our maunga was taken from us in insidious means, it was sold to private people, private hands. And the Crown will not put into, has not done yet and will not do. It will not put private property into any treaty settlement. And it goes against that grain of those kaumātua that started this, and that grain with things, little things like I riro whenua atu, me hoki whenua mai. Kare taia. This means we're going to have to work harder, brother. In one way or another, get our maunga back. If we have to buy it back 1 acre at a time over 100 years, so be it. We ain't going anywhere, eh? Rāpai Parker is not going to move on, not cheered anyway.
Kia ora whanaunga. I think certainly where it started is time to see the different parts to the treaty settlement. The first of those is where we negotiate our shared history. So as part of that, there are a number of things that we've identified where the Crown failed to live up to its treaty responsibilities to us. So within those things, what happened around the sales that ended up with Momo Kai being then on-sold are part of that story of ours. But as Tamati said, when we come to negotiate with government about what we can get out of them in settlement, we are only able to talk with them about something they own. So at the moment, Momo Kai itself, as you well know, is split between 3 different farms. The top of it's in one main farm and then the other 2 intersect. So we weren't able, while we were able to get the Crown to accept that that as part of its fault it had not done what it should have done to protect that, we were then unable to get them to offer it up in settlement because it's owned by private landowners. One of the things we have to do moving forward with sites like that is what are we going to do in the future to deal with those things? And part of it might be in the experience of other areas, we make our own decision to buy those things back because we have the ability to do that. So what I wanted to say, Whanau, is that's not lost from our horizon because that's really important. That's an important part of our cultural identity. What we have to figure out post-settlement are there other ways we can have that land back in our ownership. And part of that for us will be what do we do with the assets and money that we're about to get post-settlement. What we have to do across the district though is that for each of our different areas there are special sites and special things of interest to them. We have to figure out a way forward where we can support all of those things as well as to support what we collectively want to do. Because each of our different areas, they have some particular things which are really important to them. That's all part of the planning we have to do over the next 2 to 3 years. We have to figure our way through what are the most important things to us and why, and what is it we want done about them in the future.
Kia ora no tātou. Ko te kia tātou ko horomona tātou ingoa, no whakakia. Not trying to put a damper on anything, but and I guess I share some of the feelings of a previous speaker who remarked on the shortness of the decision making to accept the proposal put together today.
Yeah.
You know, 54 years ago, Pākehā came from England with a lot of letters behind his name, very clever man. And for 50 years, he told us at Whakaemi that the river ran uphill. And for 50 years, we weren't listened to. And it took us 54 years to actually get all those people who make decisions to actually accept our advice. And we had that turned around so that we replaced the outlet from our lake that went directly into the sea back to Pākehā where they originally came from. So I guess what I'm saying is mā te wā. You know, we've waited, Blighty and Goose Walker put a claim for Here Tau over 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Or 25 years later, we're a little bit closer.
Yeah.
And I guess if it takes more than, to September this year, get away. So I guess it's a decision that we as a whānau need to make, is whether we accept your negotiations with the Crown that you have made on our behalf, or whether we take a little bit longer. Because I guess no one...
Part of our settlement, one of the things we used was we looked at how much land was lost, how it was lost, and we had to generate an approximate figure of how many people we thought had whakapapa connections to home. So we decided to be smarter than the government, and we used one of their own formulas to come up with a figure of 34,000 people. The government's always struggled to accept that that's the number we've got. They were comfortable with about 24,000. What we've seen in previous settlements is no one has achieved the complete number of the beneficiaries voting. There's a slight problem we run into in this country, which is Māori don't tend to vote for any process, let alone the tribal ones. We don't vote very well in the general elections, and we vote even less when it comes to the local body elections. So we're not great voters. So our target has always been to look at somewhere in the region of 5,000 to 7,000 because we thought that was a fair number to try and get to enrol and register and vote in this process, knowing that this is only the beginning and we have to keep moving forward. In terms of your kōrero whanaunga about mā te wā, my response to that is similar to Walton. I was 19 years old when we lodged some claims 31 years ago. And I've got a lot more grey hair since that day. And there were a number of people that wanted us at that stage to go and resolve these issues and deal with them, and most of them are gone now. And so my response to that is, at the end of the day, we were charged to go out to get the best deal possible. I can tell you as the chief negotiator, I'm absolutely clear that I couldn't have got 1 cent more out of government. If I thought I could, I would have got it. So that's, at the end of the day, it's your choice to make a decision about whether or not it's worthwhile. But I suppose one of the things I think about is if we get into that focus of mā te wā, when does that stop? Because one of the things I'm committed to, and I'm sure we're all committed to, is I don't want my children, and I certainly don't want my mokopuna to be dealing with these things. And I want us to get it, and I'm quite happy to stand in front of you all after dealing with treaty claims for 30 years and tell you that's a really, to actually have the ability to be doing things and not be in a rearguard battle with the Crown about our history. We have to account and be respectful to it, and then we've got to move to the other side and move on. Kia ora.
Just to add to that, the short end of the answer is it comes down to political will. And there's no set number as such that the Crown has. And it's said in the presentation it takes into account a number of things. How many are registered, how many participated, how many voted, and how many voted yes. It also looks how many came to our hui, how many hit on our sides, how many done this, how many done that. Then at the end of the day, it comes down to political will. And if the minister goes about risk management for the Crown, if they believe that the risk is minimal and then signing off and accepting the ratification, they will do so. If they think the risk is too high, those numbers, whatever way, aren't quite to their liking, they would tell us that we have some more work to do. Our ability to carry on that work, though, may be hampered. We rely on funding to get through this, not through any other means. That's how it will play out.
So are we close? Are we there at this?
Yeah, we're feeling very buoyed. We're feeling very buoyed. As again, in this typical Wairoa way of, you call a spade and you tell it like it is, hey, there's not everything's gone well for us. We've only managed to get our database up and ticking and humming, and we've had registrations coming in for months and months, and get everything up and going over the last 4 weeks. We're now up to about 3,500 registrations. Over 500 people already voted. We've got a 6-week voting period as opposed to 4. Mostly we only have 4. We said, no. Keep it open because our foot soldiers, our warriors are going to get more. And that's our aspirational goal, to get to 5,000 registered and voted. That's enough. And here we are saying yes, yes, and yes. Please. Any other questions? Must be nearly getting to the end because the sun's coming out now. So Tira.
Is there draft legislation yet?
The deed of settlement, the actual deed itself, deed is still being worked through.
Because the deed refers to sections in the draft legislation.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be interested to read those.
Okay. About what that should be up or now?
Well, they had an initial draft a couple of weeks ago, but I don't think they've
Okay. Are you a lawyer?
Yes.
Do you know Hui legal?
Yes.
Get in touch with them, Maya and Mikaida. Oh, she's going off to Stanford in a week to Harvard. Matanuku. We're free to share info. We've got nothing to hide. can't see their finders, Fiwi negotiators are wrong there. Whatever.
I just want to say, in light of my other kātai, that I'm totally supportive of this. Yes, it's time for us to go forward. I too acknowledge that 30-year body of mahi that everyone has gone through. I want to acknowledge our kaumātua that what was forward all those years ago that aren't with us today for their work. I think it's an excellent settlement that sits up there with other bigger more established iwi that have come before us. I think it's excellent, and urging everybody to say yes, it's time to go forward now, because Wairoa can't wait anymore. We have our reports in. So thank you to everybody for all your work over the last X years, or mainly unpaid. I mean, I know what it's like. I did, 7-8 years research, on the sidelines. So kia ora, thank you to everybody who has put the work in. I think it's an excellent settlement. Thank you.
Kia ora. Thank you for that. Thank you for those.
Sorry, I just want to...
No, don't start.
It's ingrained.
It's ingrained.
Yeah, so when I was younger, Nanny used to have this big Valiant, and she would drive around and she would point out areas that was taken, that's ours, we're not allowed on it. So this is really emotional for me. This is a big step. And I think of Moreni pools, when I grew up in Nuhaka, it was so hot in the summer, you couldn't, you just had to swim. And all of us went to the bridge and jumped off the bridge because we couldn't afford Moreni pools. You had to pay. So that, just a little thing, but when you got 10 kids, you can't take 10 kids to Moreni pools, so you go to Nuhaka River. So when we get the pools back,
that might be the problem.
So this means a lot. I'm a bit scared, I'll be honest. My mother's side's tiny, so I am a bit scared. But I do have a lot of faith because I can see the work that has gone into this. So thank you. And thank you on behalf of all my family that passed on.
Thank you. Yes, it is a big step. It's a huge leap of faith. We're not asking people to forget. We'll never forget our past. We can't. That's our history. So we're asking people to take a leap of faith and put that behind us so that we can move forward. That's what this is really about. So that we can begin to do what our needs is. We'll start to build a brighter future for our tamariki, mokupuna, uri whakahiki. Because that's the second part of this challenge. And we are the burden generation. We are the burden generation, and that yes, we are completing this task that our pakeke set out. And in picking up that burden and carrying that through responsibly, we're going to settle in the game. In doing so, we should not see any benefits, but our tamariki and our mokopuna should. And when that happens, we'll know our job is done. That's the journey. So thank you all for coming today. I got another tātai. Go for it, cousin. Now's the time. Paki up.
Kura me tipu na taku ingoa, mo Ngāti Mākoro, mai tahu mata whaiti, Ngāti Nui Whare, mai te apatu hoki. Me atu ki a koutou e te whānau. Just, I want to be a little bit more specific in terms of, you're talking about the skill sets. I'm all for going forward, but I know a lot of our whānau don't know what you're talking about when you say they need to be really skilled. The trustees, they actually don't know what you're talking about there. So what type of skill sets are they looking for in their whānau to put forward? Because it's their big decisions, they've got a lot of work in front of them, and I know in our whānau, we have a person in mind that we may be interested in putting forward. We've had discussions with him. He says he doesn't have the skill set. And so in terms of those kinds of kōrero that we need to have with our whānau that we're looking at putting forward, into those positions, it's got to be kōrero that's got to go up there. So in terms of, if you can be specific in terms of what those skill sets are, the whānau here can talk to those whānau that are out there to say these are the skill sets we need within our hopu, within our trustees who are going to do the mahi over the next couple of years. Please.
Good. Yes, and yes, that's right. We need to be specific. We need to give the whānau the right information, including not just saying good skill sets, but what does that mean? What does that look like? We also need to let all whānau know of the criteria. So for this first 2-year period at least, to nominate, to vote, or to stand, whether it's ahika or non-ahika, you've got to be a registered beneficiary. Because that's our first principle. For our first part of this journey, it's about us owning that. Secondly, and more importantly, the kind of skill sets that we will be looking for for this 2-year period are going to be more governance type skill sets as opposed to business. Because we're not getting the $88 million or the assets or that's to come. And they're going to have to decide what does the wider PSG, because everyone focuses on that small table where that's only a wee bit of the picture. We've got business loans, social loans, blah, 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 blah. They're going to have to decide what does that look like permanently, yada, yada, yada. So, what I'm saying is once we get through this, once we get through this vote, and we get to the next stage very quickly, we're going to send out the information to everyone electronically. Not in the book, telling you straight up, electronically. It's the only way we can get it out quickly to everyone. Cool? Cool.
I'm still concerned with what's happening in the real world. I'm talking about treaty settlements. Māori corporations are taking themselves to court and spending thousands of dollars amongst Māori. So I'm still concerned about that. So my question is this. Te Tira Whakaemi, are you aware of any other groups, Māori groups from Wairoa, that is on the same kaupapa as this group? And if you are, I'd like to have those groups, we aware of them, that not you, the trustees is wheeling these things, but us, the people out there, in support of going to our own families in these other groups and having a court at all.
Kia ora. So
because if they go and their leaders go, it's sort of a clash because they've already made up their minds. But if we go, we're just going as family members. So if you can make those names available, those groups, that's our duty to talk to our own brothers and sisters and cousins.
Kia ora. Well, to tell you the answer to that here now, Kuro. The answer is how many other groups are there? Kore. 0. We're all under Te Tira. It's taken us a long time, many years. Kore. You're going to ask something.
Tātou, ko ira heira tōku ingoa, ngā te mākoro te hapu, ko whiti marama te marae, a kare aki pātai I tēnei rā, hoi anō me tū kia tukumihi ka tika, kia koutou ngā kaitiaki nei o te Tira Whakaemi nei, koutou I whakapaukaha, I whakapeto ngoi, I rungi tēnei kaupapa nui whakahirahira. Mohio pai tātou e hara tēnei mahi, e hara tēnei tūmahi, he mahi māma, he mahi ngāwari, he mahi hohonu, he mahi taumaha. He nui ngā kōrero hitori kua puta, I rungi tēnei kaupapa. Ngā hitori hei reira, te mamai, te toto, te wera, te roimata o tātou nei tupuna. Nā rātou, te mahi, I tīmata, ko tā mātou nei he whakoti. Nō reira, he tika tā tāmati, tā te karaua nei rungi te kiriata nei, he mea tōranga pū, te autango te mahi nei, he mea hei whakawehe I a mātou, nei tō kāhui, hei aha tō whakapapa, nei tō rōpū, me whiriwhiri te kotahi noi ho, e ratu mō mea, hoi anō, me aro atu ki ngā painga o tēnei ngā mahi, ko pēnei nā, o te whakakotahitanga, o te whakawhanaungatanga, koe rata te mea painga o tēnei ngā mahi. Tika tā te karaua, Richard, I hare te mea kua e katoa o tātou nei mahi, o tātou nei raurau katoa. Hoi anō, me aro atu ki ngā mea pai, ngā mea pai. Hea te nama, rua takau mā whā mano o tātou. He tira nui tērā, kua pukumahi tātou. Nō reira, he mea, ko tērā tātou I nei, he whakotahi tātou. Nō reira, koe rā tāku, kia tātou.
Tēnā tātou. So, key messages again. Please ensure you're registered. You can register here today, you can register online. Reach out to your whānau. We really do mean it. We need foot soldiers, we need warriors. And we need you all to reach out to your whānau. Get them to register, get everyone to vote. Te Tira is openly recommending that we vote yes to move forward. That's the key stuff for today. Next week we're going to be on Friday in Palmerston North, then they're going to Invercargill. I'll be in Wellington for something. And then Invercargill on Saturday and then Christchurch on Sunday. And that'll complete our ratification hui around the motu. So please reach out to your whānau down there to come along, listen, and they may have questions that they want to ask. Kapai, thank you all for coming today. We're going to finish with a little karakia from this side, karakia for our hui. I know you fellas are in the blues at the moment, but you know we'll have a karakia for the hurricane. Wairoa, we're in that Hurricanes franchise. Don't you fella forget that, eh? We're in that Hurricanes franchise, in the final too. I'll tell you, I'll be in Invercargill, my kids will be at the bloody game. We have karakia, then we'll go next door. We'll have a paku kapu tea and a timoti. Anō reira kia inō tātou, kia tātou katoa, ko te ātawhai o tō tātou a iki a ihu karaiti, me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhingatahitanga ki te Wairoa tātou. Nei tā tātou wai. Tu tira mai ngā iwi, tātou tātou re. Tu tira mai ngā iwi, tātou tātou re. Whai a te maramatanga,
Te Wairoa. Let's build a better future for our whānau. Voting is now open on our settlement. Te Tira Whakaemi o Te Wairoa is about to hold a series of ratification hui across Aotearoa seeking your vote and your support. To approve the deed of settlement and to agree to the roles and responsibilities of our post-settlement governance entity, Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa. We need your vote for our settlement to continue. If you're over 18 and whakapapa to Te Wairoa, then register now to have your say. Go to our website or Facebook page for more information on how to vote. Tātou Tātou, Te Wairoa. Tēnā koutou katoa.